You said there is a couple who came here. Tell the story about that couple.
Yes, they came here in 2022. And they weren't planning on coming, but then circumstances happened. So anyway, it was a couple of weeks before Easter Sunday, and they were just home, and Maureen started having stomach pains. So much so that she was, thinking maybe she ought to go, so they wound up going to an urgent care, which is like a Mediclinic in the U.S., and they didn't have enough diagnostic equipment there. So then they said, we think she should go to the emergency room, which is the hospital. So she wound up going to the hospital. They ran some tests, and here she wound up, the doctor came in and sat down and basically cried in front of her, and he said, you have all these cancerous lesions on your liver, on your spine, telling her that she had 3 months to live. So that was, like I said, a few weeks before Easter. So, not knowing what to do, they followed up with other doctors. She had some treatment. It was an immunotherapy, which she had a horrible reaction to. That almost took her life. But then there was no hope. So her husband, Michael, said, tell me where you want to go. I will take you wherever you want to go. If you want to go to Lourdes, if you want to go to Fatima, if you want to go to Medjugorje. And they had been here with their children in the 90s, I think, early 90s. And she said, I want to go to Medjugorje again. So they wound up coming with the group that Carol and I had planned on coming with. So we didn't know them before this trip. And when they got here, and at the time, who was wearing masks, but she was very sickly and walking with a cane, legs bandaged up from all the swelling. And one night, late afternoon, Maureen said, I think I'm going to walk to church and go to confession. And Michael was lying down. He said, are you sure? She's like, no, if I need help, there's enough pilgrims here. I'll have the help I need. So she wound up sitting and waiting to go to confession, and when she did, she had confession with Father Michael
Fitzgerald from Ireland.
Okay, and that's funny. That's their last name. I didn't know his last name, but anyway, he listened to her confession and then said that you need to speak with Father Leon, and she at that point didn't know who Father Leon was. Yes, but anyway,
a priest and a medical doctor.
Yes. So after she was done speaking with Father Michael, she was asking a few people, and Father Leon just happened to be walking, and so she went up to him, and he prayed over her. And she said, with the mask on her face, because she was immunosuppressed at that point, she could smell roses. And so she spoke with Father Leon, he blessed her, she went on her way, and she came back. So that evening, when we saw her, I knew I could visibly see something happened to her. There was a change. We didn't know. And she just had this beautiful smile on her face and was describing her experience. And we didn't know. Well, long story short, this is 2+ years later. And she is completely cured. There are no liver lesions, no cancer to be seen. Her tumor markers are down. So that is a miracle. It is a miracle, and someday the world will know about that miracle. But it absolutely was a healing here from Medjugorje.
She met beautiful priests, Father Michael, Father Leon, warriors for Christ and for Our Lady. You met them as well, I guess?
Yes, yeah.
And I think we should not forget to pray for all the priests. They are the front line.
They are.
Everything.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
And we are judging them, and they gave everything.
Right.
Their family. They follow 100%.
Yes.
And that's what my brother said. Strange. They give everything, and we criticize them so much.
Yeah. Yes, we have to pray for all the priests. Yes.
And I also said, like when you said to pray, was it you or you who said pray for the politicians? We should pray for the politicians as well.
Yes, absolutely.
We lost that. We are all judging them now and dividing and getting this hate. But I think because we are not praying anymore.
Exactly.
We are focusing on something else these days. Right?
Yeah, focusing on division more than what can we do collectively. Yes.
To bring the good back into the world.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, and
that's
Mike,
good.
yes, Michael and Maureen also, she felt like, God was using her with this miracle and her healing to create a divine mercy postulate, cenacle, in our little county in Pennsylvania. But she really is, it's starting to take off, and different churches are having it. And
What are they doing? What is the ministry?
It's a prayer cenacle, having once a week.
Once a
Divine
week?
Mercy. Once a week, Divine Mercy hour.
They pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet once a week, maybe Friday.
Yes, yes. And on Divine Mercy Sunday, there was a large celebration that lasted like 4 hours, and they had speakers come in, and Dr. Thatcher, who is he works at for the Divine Mercy Center, also interviewed Maureen on the phone, and he's instrumental he is a doctor. He was an oncologist before he retired.
Yeah.
So when he interviewed Maureen, he kept asking her what her marker numbers were, and she was like, why do you want to know that? And he said, because I was an oncologist for kidney cancer, or was it liver? Kidney. Liver cancer, and I've never known anyone to have your numbers who lived.
And you survived, and it's gone.
And survived, and it's gone. And he promotes the apostolic blessing that Pope St. John Paul II brought about, that if you pray in front of the Eucharist, pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet, especially for the sick and dying, you receive a plenary indulgence. So that's being spread as well.
Wow, that's a beautiful, beautiful ministry. Yeah. And tell me, you saw this couple as well. You were on the pilgrimage with them.
Well, and they live in our backyard.
Yeah.
So Patty and I, and even my husband, we have met them for breakfast. We've been in their company more than on one occasion, and we've become really great friends.
And you
So
also, yeah?
they were so excited that we were coming here. They almost came on this trip with us, but they had a daughter who was having surgery for a suspicion of cancer, and they did not want to leave her, so they stayed behind. So they're very anxious for us to return and tell them what this pilgrimage was like for us.
And tell me, you saw that, so she had cancer.
Oh my word, when we saw her walking, it hurt me to watch her walk. Her legs were wrapped with some kind of gauze, and it was wet because it was weeping. Her legs were weeping. And the next morning, her legs were normal size, and there were no claws, and she was just a different person.
You saw it with your own eyes.
I saw it, Patty. Well, everybody in our group saw it, including the priest who was with us, Father Dan, who was her parish priest. So it's been well documented.
Wow. And what does something like that, when you see something like this?
Oh, that's a sign for Carol the Sign Seeker.
Yeah, you're the sign seeker, exactly.
That was the best sign to see.
Yeah, I see. You talk to other people about that?
Oh yes, anytime we can talk to somebody, we tell them.
And what do you say? Who was that? What happened for you?
What do I say?
What do you say? What happened there?
Oh, well, if you believe in miracles, or even if you don't believe in miracles, they do come true.
They asked and they received, as
Yes,
Jesus said?
they asked and they received.
With God, all things are possible.
Right.
With God, all things are
Things are
possible.
possible. That's it.
Thank you.
You bet.